Hey, Mike Pilcher coming back to you with this fire panel. Just wanted to show you a few things. On the website here that where you're seeing these videos, you're going to be seeing some tools over on the supplies and template page in colors. Here's one of the really cool tools that I'm explaining how to make. I just want to show you in person kind of how to make it. So what this is, it's a broom that I've got here in my garage, and I've taken these strands, and these plastic ones work the best. These plastic strand brooms work the best. Pull them out, then I've took some 1.25 inch masking tape, I laid it down flat with the sticky side up, and I placed these in it at curves, at different curves. And I had a longer piece of tape. When I got the width that I wanted, then I took the rest of that tape and folded around on the back side and stuck the tape together. Makes a nice little tool that you can lay up to something, and then you can take your airbrush and spray right over it. Here's another one that's more straight. These work really good for making like grass, country scenes. Then here's a even wider one that I've made. So these are really cool, easy to make, cheap, a lot of cheap tricks. Here's another cool thing I like, drywall tape. You can get this at hardware stores or anywhere. It's cheap. Just get a roll of, I use the yellow. It don't matter what you get, you can get the white or whatever, but I use the yellow. But it's just drywall tape you use for drywall. It's got a real light sticky back that you can put it up to a panel, lay out your strips, spray over it. Makes really good carbon fiber. We've also used it to make snakeskin. Okay. Here's a very, very cool trick here. Now you may want to get if you're a guy, you may want to get your wife or your girlfriend or a sister to go get these for you. These are ladies' pantyhose, fishnet stocking is what they are, fishnet stockings. So you can get them at Walmart, real cheap. But these things you can stretch right over helmets, over motorcycle tanks. I mean, it's amazing what you can get these things to stretch over. But see here, get the light just right here so you can see it. But see, you can stretch these patterns out, and you can get all kinds of, this works really good for snakeskin, because you can stretch this thing around. You can get all these different patterns. When you get to corners, you can kind of really stretch this stuff out, and it is really a great item to have. So another cheap trick. You can use them over several times actually. Here's another one of my favorites. This is just a red Scotch-Brite, and you can use this for making clouds. So you kind of see where I've taken this and I've kind of pulled it. Just kind of pull it and stretch it. But you can see the white, you can see where I've sprayed. But I'll hold that up to something, and I'll just blow right along here with my airbrush. And you can just move around. You can make your clouds. You can hold it up this way, do the same thing. You can get a lot of cool shapes out of this. Another cheap trick I like really, really well. You can also use cotton balls for making clouds. I like Scotch-Brite, probably the best. Cotton balls does work pretty good though. And then of course, get all kinds of different templates. I talked to you and showed you how to make your templates. But here's some I bought. This is by Art Tool. But this is just a template that's got several different things on it. It's got 8-ball horseshoes, spider webs, dice. It's really cool. But you can get these in kits. So you can go over to TCP Global, T like Tom, C like Charlie, P like Paul, TCP Global. It's affiliated with eBay, so you can go to ebay.com and then just type in airbrush equipment or airbrush supplies or art tool. It'll come right up to TCP Global's page. So get a lot of my stuff there very quick. Every time I order stuff there, and I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, and you know they're in a completely different state. So whenever I order something, you know, within 3 days max, I've got the stuff on my doorstep. So that's what I love about them, because they get the stuff out very, very quickly. Okay, let's move on in this panel. I want to continue on this wood, and I want to show you some more things we can do, because over here we've done like a burnout. And I want to show you here where this fire kind of stops. We could actually create another kind of a burnout here, like the wood's kind of burning out. I want to show you that real quick. Then we'll move over here to this black where we haven't painted, and we'll go ahead and do some real fire on there as well. So I want to go ahead and show you this. Now what I've got is black, already mixed up in Airbrush here. I've already shot blender over this, because remember, this don't have clear, so we've got to do something to open it, because it's been several days it's set here. So one, you either need to Scotch-Brite or sand it. Two, and we don't want to do that because we have no clear on it, so it'll mess up our artwork. So the main option is to put blender, DBC 500 blender, which is made by PPG. You shoot that on it, it goes on like clear. It opens up the pores and allows our paint to get inside and stick. Otherwise, it'll never stick. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're just going to move along here and kind of create a burnout. So I got black in my airbrush. I'm going to test it over here on the paper beside what I'm working on. Make sure it's blowing it right, got the mixture right. It's pretty close. So let's just go in here. We're just going to kind of get up pretty close and just do kind of a burnout. We're just kind of doing a squiggly line, because burnouts are not going to go straight. And we're just going to kind of create a dark spot here. Follow our line, and what I'm doing now is I'm just backing up a little farther away from the panel. I got up close to make my burnout line. Now I'm pulling back a ways, getting back farther from the panel, and I'm just kind of blowing underneath that crack. Okay. And I might go in here and make another few burnout lines. I'm getting up kind of close here doing this. And inside this, I'm going to kind of black it out. Just going to give it a couple things. It's going to give it kind of a smoky look. But it's also going to give it that look like it's like you're seeing back in the back side of it. You got fire coming through. Okay, that's pretty good. We'll bring this right on over to this line we've got running here. Same thing here. Just have fun with these. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules, like I mentioned before. There's nothing that you have to do any certain thing any certain way. But I will tell you on this fire, to get the right look, you're going to want to use these color coordinations in the order that I'm giving you to you, because if you don't, you're not going to get the glow, you're not going to get the right look. And this look that we get is just a really good look. Now what I'm doing is I'm just rinsing out my airbrush. Poured my paint right back in my my bottle, putting the lid back on it. Remember, this paint don't have any hardener in it, so you can pour it right back in your bottle. And I'm just taking my reducer, put a little reducer in it. And by moving your finger back and forth on the trigger, what it's doing is it's cleaning the needle on the inside. You move it back and forth like that. And you can just hold it down too. But moving it back and forth cleans that needle, and your airbrush will continue to keep spraying very nice and smooth for you. And now what I'm going to do is giving all my bottles a shake. I'm holding my finger on the lid so they don't accidentally come open. I've had that happen, and oh my gosh, what a mess. Okay, so I've got the airbrush. Just put a little bit of chrome yellow in there. Okay. Now I'm going to put just a little bit of reducer in there. Put my lid on it. Remember, it's got a hole on top, so I put a rag over it, give it a shake. Okay. Now we're ready to spray. You can test it right over the side on your paper that's on the side here. Or if you happen to have a frame made, or say you've got something masked off and you've got some masking area, you can spray on that to check your consistency. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this line with some of this chrome yellow. We're going to create, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it really close. I'm almost touching the panel. Moving pretty quick. So I'm just creating a little line. I don't know if you can see that very good or not, but I'm just creating a little line all the way around this. And then we'll come back over that in a little bit after we make a few flames. The tangerine orange candy, and what that's going to do is really give this a glow, that hot glow look. Okay, now we'll get one of our art tools, our templates. We're just going to go in here and bring some fire up out of this area. Remember, I'm following these round shapes. I don't paint in here. I'm using the round parts. And I flip it back and forth. I never stay on the same side. I always like to flip it back and forth, use different sides. You just get a much nicer look. Now I'm going to come around those edges with a little dagger stroke. I don't have such a cookie cutter look. If I just lay this up there and blow around, I've talked about it before, it just looks too cookie cuttery, so I like to do this. Use freehand. That's use a lot of freehand, what's going to give you some of your most custom looks. So that's starting to look pretty good, and we'll just kind of go up along here in a few places and bring a few more bits of fire up out of here, so because we want fire coming up out of this black like it's coming out from behind and coming up over. So that's what we're doing here. create a few little pieces like that. Now I'm just getting up pretty close and I'm aiming down. And the reason I'm aiming down is because I want it to go down into the black and I don't want it so much up here on this wood. I'm kind of aiming down a little bit. Now I'm going to back up. And kind of start fogging a little bit of this yellow in here. When we come back with the candy in here in a minute, I want that to really have that orangey look down in there. Give it that glow. Okay, now I'm going to aim up. I'm going to come from the bottom and aim up. Kind of follow this line, and I'm backing up a little bit. Not so close. And I'm just kind of, I'm not going solid. I'm just putting some of this yellow around that bottom edge a little bit in a few places. I don't want it solid. Now what I'm going to do is put a couple of dots here and back away. So I'm going to put a dot and then pull back. Same thing in here in a few places. I'm going to give it some hot spots. Kind of neat look. Makes your fire look a little more realistic. And then once we're done, we may take some of these little embers and make them jump over the top of this. It'll give it a really cool look. Now what I'm going to do is use the straight edge. So right down here along this black where we've got this straight line, to keep from getting overspray over on this wood, I'm going to hold this straight edge up here, cover the wood, I'm leaving the black exposed. And then it's going to kind of come along here. Like that. So it's making it look like it's staying, it's coming in from behind these dark places in the wood, and it's really cool effect. You may not be able to see it in the camera as well as what I'm seeing here in person, but it makes it look like it's coming out from behind this wood. So it's definitely a cool look. Do the same thing over here. Hold my straight edge up here to block the wood. And I think that's probably pretty good. We'll just go ahead and get some candy. I don't know if you just heard that heater kick on or not, but about 14 degrees outside right now, so it's pretty cold night here. So my furnaces, my heater's running a lot more out here in the garage than normal. I'm going to bring a couple of just little pieces of fire up out of here. Okay, I'm going to switch over here, dump this yellow out. Watch what I'm doing here. I took the lid off the yellow bottle. I'm just dumping my yellow right back in there. Now I'm going to put a little bit of reducer in here. Kind of shake that around a little bit, kind of clean some of that yellow out. Dump that right back in my paint bottle. This helps clean it out. And I run my paint a little bit thicker in these bottles, so that's the reason I do that, so I can keep adding. Makes paint go a little farther. Just run some reducer through it. Okay. Now we've got our orange glow candy. Give it a shake. We're going to dump it right in here. Now we're going to add a little reducer. A lot of people go ahead and mix their paint exactly like they want it, you know, in the bottle. And I used to, but then when I had excess in my cup and I went to dump it back in there, then my paint all of a sudden got reduced too much really, really fast. Then I ended up having to add more paint to it to thicken it up. So I run it thicker in the mix in the bottle. That way when I take the paint that's in here, I dump it back in the bottle, put a little thinner in there, shake it up, get the rest of the paint out. I'm not over reducing my bottle so quick. If that makes sense. Okay, kind of spraying here to make sure I got a good flow of my new color. Now I'm just going to follow this yellow we just put on, and I'm just going to cover it up with this orange. And just see real quick, it's changing colors very, very fast. Now this is candy. Like our black, we can't cover our black with this. I mean, it's going to cover whatever other colors on top of the black, but the black, because it's a darker color, and this is a transparent because it's candy, it will not cover your black. Okay, we got that pretty orange. I think we'll just call that good. That came out about right. I just ran out of paint, so that's just about right. Okay, I'm just putting a little bit of reducer in there. Run through that, kind of cleans it out. Just give it a little bit of a shake and then ran that through there and it cleans it right out. Okay, now we've got our orange, so now what we want to do is go back in here with some black and just kind of redefine a few places. And then once we're done with that, we'll come in with the other candies on top of that. So I got my black. Let's put a little bit. I don't need very much. I don't want to do too much. Too much here. I just want to kind of redefine a few places. So kind of right in here. Just going to kind of go along here. And really what I'm doing is just making it look like it's pushed back in there more. I still want to leave some of these yellow lines, because that's what gives it that glow look, like it's really burning. And the more color, the more candies we come in here with, you'll just see it in here in just a minute. I don't like this. I had too much yellow there and orange, so I'm kind of blacking that out a little bit. And along here, we're just going to, in a few places, we're not going to make it solid, but just in a few places, we're going to black that just a little, just not solid, but if you still want that line to show through, And what I've done there is real lightly because I want to be able to see it through it. I still want the fire going over it, but I want to be able to see through it. So the reason I've done that, kind of along here a little bit. Still got to leave this look like that fire is rolling out from back behind here in the black and rolling out up over the top of the wood. So that's kind of what I'm doing now to get that rolled over look. Okay, I'm going to kind of probably call it quits in this step here. They don't look too bad. Okay, I'm going to dump the black out. Now if it's black, you got to rinse out a little bit more than normal because it is black. So I'm just kind of rinsing out here. Now I'm going to mix up just a touch. Got white here. Performance white. This is actually a Ford color. A couple drops. Chrome yellow. This is actually a Ford color as well. A couple drops. It gives it kind of a pale yellow look. You put that white in there with the yellow mix, it's about a 50-50 mix. Gives it kind of a pale yellow look. And this will help us to get some of the hot spots we're looking for. Now we're going to use our art tool and we're just going to redefine a few places here where this where we want our flames to kind of jump out. I'm going around the edges here a little bit, a little freehand to take away some of that stencily look. You'll see here in just a minute what we're getting ready to do is really pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I've already showed it to you, but I'm going to show it to you again. Doing some freehand work here to make it look a little nicer. And all I'm doing is just adding hot spots. That's what this mixture of yellow and white is doing is it's going to add the hot spots. So what I did there is I had this curve. I blew just a little on that side. I flipped that same curve around, brought it to a point up here with this other one that I had just now, and made just a little bit of a pointy tail there. And blow on that side, we flip it around this side, bring it to a point up here. And watch what this will do. See, it makes like a little wispy point. Now we can come up in here just a little bit. Where we want some hot spots. Little freehand, this little dagger stroke right there. Just get that little wispy. Put just a little here. To make these really glow here in just a little bit. This 50-50 mixture I got here is going to glow like crazy. Now what I'm going to do is kind of follow that edge where I went around there with the yellow a while ago. Let's make some hot spots. Around that edge. Same thing on the bottom. I'm not going to fall all the way around. I don't want it to be solid. This will really give it a neat look. Okay, now like this one here, just kind of make it a little hotter. Just coming up in here. Now we're going to make this one come right up on top. So let's just make it jump. So it's coming up out of here, and it's actually jumping over this. So we got one here that's going under it. We'll leave it alone. We want that. That's kind of a neat effect, having it going under. Let's put a little bit of a hot spot right there. This yellow and white mix, you basically want it where you want your hot spots. You can also do this. So I'm right here, so I'm just going to kind of pull back a little bit. And just kind of fog a little bit over both sides there. Like here. It gives it kind of a hot spot look. We're going to come in here just a little bit with our pagan gold candy. Now I'm going to do a few more right here to kind of make it all blend together. Now we'll turn this around, get on the other side here. We'll freehand work around these so they don't look so stencily. Making hot spots, that's all I'm doing right now. A little dot on a few of them. Actually, will look pretty good. It'll look very realistic too. I think I've mentioned to you already that take pictures. So like if you're fire, get pictures. I used to create quite an album. I can show them to you here in just a little bit. But I used to take a lot of pictures of fire when I was really starting out. And I'd get like a cardboard fire. I'd set a cardboard fire and then I would put a little bit of oil down, gas. I tried, pretty much everything. Just seeing different colors of fire and then take a picture. Because until you take a picture of it, it actually stops the fire. You don't see half of what's going on in the fire. But boy, when you stop that thing, like that picture, and then you can look at it, oh my goodness, it's pretty crazy what fire really does. So I really recommend taking pictures. You create you like a little folder like I have, and you'll a little bit more here, and then we're going to quit on this. You create that folder, then you got a good reference to always look at. And you take those pictures and stick them right up over here, tape them up to the side of the panel that you're working on, and then you can just keep looking back and forth. So if you're working here, you can look here, and you got a good reference all the time. Okay, we'll quit at that. Put a couple dots right here for little hot spots. Let me show you this folder. Here's what I've got is just a big folder. You can see it. Excuse me, it's just full of stuff. So in this folder, it's projects that I've done. It's also maybe pictures that I've taken, and then I can use it as references. So I was telling you about taking the pictures of fire. And check this out. Trying to hold this, keep this all from falling out. This thing is so big and thick. Like here's a burn barrel where I just put a bunch of boxes, cardboard box. I poured some oil in there. I just done all kinds of things to create different looks, and you can kind of see all the smoke. So see, I can put that right up there, tape it up there, and use it as a reference to help create different looks. Here was 2 frames just taken, just snap. and they look so different. They was taken within hundreds of each other, thousands of a second of each other. Here's one with the wood in our fireplace. There's another fireplace shot. So these pictures really will help you with your fire. Now here's our fireplace. As we was kind of letting it, we was dampening it down to go to bed that night. Kind of letting the fire dampen down. So it gives it a whole different look. So you've got this folder of all these deals. See, here's things that I've cut out. There's a Batman deal. I've cut that out to make little stencils. You know, like a helmet. Had a young girl bring in a baseball or softball helmet, and she kind of created her what she wanted it to look like, and I painted it. Here's a deer that I did. Took a picture, made my cutout, made my little template, and this makes your work so much easier, faster, and it's going to look better. So I definitely recommend just different things that we've done. So get you a little folder, put stuff, start creating you a folder full of pictures of things that you can use, and it'll help you a lot in your projects. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm cleaning out my airbrush. A little reducer in it, give it a good shakes. Run some reducer through it. You want this pretty clean because I'm going to put the candy in it. So I'm going to take a rag after I run the reducer through it. So now I got it pretty clean. Now I'm taking pagan gold candy. Give some shakes here. A few drops in there. Actually about 5 drops. A little bit of reducer. Put the cap back on it. Your rag over the top, or your finger because you got a hole. Give it some shakes. And when you shake this, you always want to aim it somewhere away from the work you're doing, because trust me, I've had the caps come loose, I've had paint come out of the holes, whatever. Silly things happen, and it just blobs all over everything. So aim somewhere else when you shake. Okay, now what we're going to do is these spots that we've highlighted with the yellow and white mix, we're going to go over them with this candy, this pagan gold, and it's going to really start making this thing glow. It just gives it a whole different look. And these are going to look so intense, so hot. And they'll look pretty good without the clear on them. Boy, when you put the clear on top of this, oh my goodness, it will really jump out. And those squiggly lines I went down along there with around that edge, like it's burning through, I want that really intense too, so I'm going along it again with this pagan gold. It's starting to look pretty good. Okay, so let's go to Molly Red. Now Molly Red is our candy apple red, and tangerine orange mixed together to get that orangey looking red that we're after. Okay, so basically we're done here, with the exception of clear. So we're going to move over here to the black, and I'm going to show you how to start your fire like on a black panel. So I would start, move this camera down here a little bit. So I would start right down in here at the bottom of the panel, and you can turn your template however you want, but just remember, use the corners. Don't use in here. It's not going to look right. Use your corners. Basically, I'm going to blow around the bottom side of this. Just creating different shapes. And I want to go around these marks here where the stencil, so where I went around my freehand shield, I want to go around those to give the softer edge. I don't want that real stencily hard line look. So I'm blowing around this corner. Now I'm going to flip it around and blow on the other side where these two kind of meet. And I tend to make it some extra lines in there, kind of like circle lines and different things. It's just something I like to do because I think it gives it a lot more realism. Your fire, you can do whatever you want, but it's what I do. You see, I'm just kind of making some different shapes, and as you can see, I'm always using these curves. I mean, you can see on here what I'm using. See what's red? That's all I'm using. It's just the curve part. Okay, you can kind of see how these are starting to take shape. And then I can go in here and I can add some more red. Kind of blowing around some red here in different places. I want this pretty red, quite a bit of red. And now we're going to put some red candy on top of that. We got red candy. We're going to put that in our airbrush. A little reducer in there with it. Give it a little shake. Kind of testing that here inside, get it cleaned out, make sure it's good and pure. Consistency I want. And I'm just going to spray. I'm just kind of going in a circle motion. I'm just covering the red that I've just put on there. And what this red candy does is gives it a glow. It's just going to have a lot more of a glow than what it would if we didn't use that. That's your secrets to this fire, to get it to really look right, is get that glow. Let's just kind of let that dry for a second. While we're doing that, I'm going to put a little chrome yellow in my airbrush. shots of reducer. A couple of drops, I should say. Give it a shake. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry off a little bit while we're waiting here. I'm just going to do a few things, let that dry. You can kind of touch spots in different places. Oops, I kind of moved the camera on you. Open the door here just a little bit. If I turn on my exhaust fan, my ventilation system, you won't be able to hear, so I just kind of crack the door here a little bit to let some of the overspray out. But you can kind of touch it, like around the bottom, or if you got tape, you can touch your tape to kind of test it, see if it's dry. That's not too bad, so we'll go ahead here and move the camera over so you can see better. We'll slide this down a little bit. There you go. Now you can see along this bottom ledge a little bit better. So what I've got here is I've got the chrome yellow. Let me shut this door real quick. Now I'm going to use a different art tool this time. I don't want to follow these same shapes. So we're going to use this one here. And basically I'm going to use this and this. So two different shapes. And I might catch one of these right here a little bit, just to throw on a few different ones. But so I don't really want to follow these same shapes. I might use a few of them, but I don't want to use the same shape too much. I mean, I don't want to follow these shapes. Because see, I want that red to really show through. So I don't want to cover up all my red or all the patterns that I've just used. Because I want that red to really show through. I want it, because when we're done, what I'm after is for it to look like there's multiple colors. See this here, you'll see it as soon as I pull this away. I'm jumping outside of my existing pattern. So you see what I've done here? Here's the red back here, the pattern I had before. Well, I've kind of jumped over it, so it makes it look like there's multiple layers, you know, 2 or 3 different fires on top of each other. So that's what your real fire actually does. If you take your pictures, you'll see it in pictures. And I'm going around some of these lines. Take some of that stencil look away. And all we're doing is we're just creating some different shapes. Places. I'm making that one look like it's just coming right up into this one here by just using a simple little dagger stroke, little lines, smooth little, real small little dagger stroke lines. Now this one here, I'm going to lay it right on the existing red, create a little bit of a hot spot there, and then come around on this side. And I'm going to bring it up out. So I still got the red there. I think you can see what I'm after here. I'm going to lower this camera a little bit more here. What I'm after is to still be able to see that red through the yellow. So I don't want to get the yellow super heavy because I want to be able to see through it. And I don't know if you can see it as good as what I can see it here, but it's transparent. I can see through it. So what I want to do is make a few more hot spots here. This is really starting to look pretty good. Now as we get along farther in the videos, we're going to have panels that we're going to do of just nothing but fire. See, I created some different things here. I've got the wood, we've got the fire going on. I want to use up the rest of my panel here, so that in the next videos, of course, I'm going to do more wood. I'm going to go into different ways of doing it, different techniques of doing the wood, but also we're going to do just fire panels and show you multiple different ways of doing fire so that you can have options. Have different ways of doing it. And I've got a freehand method that I do where I'm still using these art tools, but like where I laid that red down, I also do it all freehanded instead of using art tool at all. For when I'm doing that first step of the red, I don't even use the art tools. And believe it or not, it's one of the better looks of fire. It looks more natural. So now I'm not going to follow this shape like here because I don't want it to mimic the shape that's already there. So I'm going to kind of switch it up here and use a different curve right here to get a whole different look. Like it's coming out from behind that red, kind of wrapping out around. So I don't want to just stay with the same shapes of the red and the yellow because I don't want to look so cookie cutter. So like here, I'm just going to jump clear out of the red, use a whole different pattern. See, I can still see through this. You may not be able to in the video here, but I can see right through it and see the red in behind it. That's what I want. I want that transparency. Like here, I brought that one, like it's curving up into that one with a simple little dagger stroke. Like up here. Now we're going to kind of start winding down a little bit. We don't want to just make it solid yellow on up there. That's not really what fire does. It starts kind of fizzing out as it gets towards the top, or if it's going down the side of a vehicle. As it gets toward the back, it's going to start fizzling out. So we're going to have less of the intense colors like the yellows. We're going to have less of them as we get to the tops. So now here, see, I want to switch. I want my, so I'm going to flip this over so that I'm not using that same curve as I get up here. Trying to keep it from looking cookie cuttery. Okay, that's starting to look pretty good. You can still see the red in behind it, which is what we want. We want that red to show. Along this bottom, I'm just going to kind of pull the airbrush back a ways. So you can see I'm quite a ways away from the panel. Circle motions. And going along. What this does, it gives it kind of a smoky look. It's actually a pretty cool look. I'm not going to go up in here. I'm just going to kind of stay right about here. And at the bottom, I'm going to go back and do it a little heavier. I want more yellow. It's more of that smoky look. That's where the heat, that's the intense part of the fire is right down there at the bottom, at the base where it kind of originated. You kind of got to think like the fire. And there again, that's where your pictures come in. When you create your own fires, you know, brush fire, trash fire, whatever it may be, you know, you're taking pictures of it, you're watching it, you're learning what fire does, and it's going to make it so much easier to treat this stuff. Now we're going to make this orange. So I've got my candy orange, candy glow. Putting that in the airbrush here. Give it a reducer. Give it a shake. Now we're going to go over this and make this orange. Even over the red, because that's going to help make it glow even more too. Just go in circular motion. It just helps cover a little bit better. It won't leave it quite so freaky. Yeah, that's really getting intense. I'm going to put a little bit more on there. That's even making that red in your first shot, make it, it's even glowing more now. It's getting a lot more intense look. Probably won't see it in the camera as much as I'm seeing it here, but it's really getting a, move it so you can see it. See how that red is really glowing? That's what your candies will do. It's going to make them, it's going to make your other colors really perk up. Okay, I'm just going to kind of let that dry just a little bit. Now what I'm doing is I'm putting some pagan gold in my airbrush here. I'm putting the reducer in. Give it a shake. I'm going to open this door back up here a little bit. Okay, I got the pagan gold. We're basically going to go over all this with the pagan gold, and that's going to really help intensify those colors there. Now that circle motion. I don't know if you could see it, but boy, those things are really starting to change looks. See, these candies is what's going to really... I've tried the solid colors. They just don't... I mean, you can make fire, but it's just not going to look right. Until you start using these candies, it's just not going to look right. You know what I'm doing is creating a mixture of yellow along with a few drops of white. It's not quite a 1-to-1 50-50 mixture. I got a little bit more yellow than I got white. Few drops of reducer. Okay, now something I didn't mention, and it's because, you know, some of this is still maybe a little tacky. It's starting to dry pretty good. Here's a must. Take your tack rag. This is our crystal. This is our crystal tack rag. So take your tack rag out, and every time you put a coat of candy on it, let it dry. Now remember, if I let all these completely dry for time in the video, we'd be adding another 20 minutes to the video, so you can see why I'm not doing it. But let your candy dry, and what it's going to do is going to leave a dust. Just kind of like it is right there, a little dust. Every time you shoot candy after it dries, take your tack rag, wipe the whole area down you're working on, and it removes that dust, and then go to your next color. Do that every time, and trust me, it's going to leave you a lot better finished look than what you'll have otherwise. Because what you're going to do is you're going to get all that buildup of that candy. Now as you put the clear on it, it's going to melt in. Trust me, it'll melt in. It'll be okay, but you'll have a nicer finished product if you use your tack rag in between every color step. Like I said, I would, but if I run a tack rag over this while it's still tacky, it'll smear it. So that's why I'm not. Just trying to get these videos, trying to keep them as short as I can, but still give you exactly the information you need. It's still kind of tacky, so I got to be careful about laying this up next to that, or what's it going to do? It's going to stick. So now what I've got is my 50-50, well, it's not quite 50-50, it's a stronger yellow than it is white, but it's mixed together. And I'm just going to kind of focus on just a few hot spots. So let's spray it out here to the side, make sure it's spraying pretty good. And let's just go in here. Don't need a whole lot of this. Can you see the difference? This is kind of what we're after here. We're just not, we don't want to just blast this. A little freehand here. Now I'm laying this up there very, very gently because I don't want to lay it up there too hard because this is still pretty tacky and I don't want it to stick. I'm being very gentle how I lay this up there. Doing a few dagger strokes. You see the difference in those. Now we come back and put the pegging on top of this. I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy difference. Yeah, one almost tried to stick there. It's still pretty tacky. That's the thing when you start putting these candies on top of each other like this, they need to dry a lot more in between coats than what I'm allowing them. Because if you don't, it's going to cost you problems. I don't want to get too carried away with this and put too much of this, but I do want some good hot spots. Now down here I'm going to create some different shapes coming up over the top of these others. This is kind of where the fire's starting down here, so we're just going to kind of do a few different and I'm leaving it transparent. I'm not covering it. So I want to be able to see those other colors. See, I can see through. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see through these. And that's what you want. You want that transparency. You don't want to have it to where you can't see through them and see those other colors because it kind of defeats what we're trying to do. We're trying to, create a look that there's multiple layers. Using some different shapes. Create some different looks here. That way I'm not following the same pattern. So I'm just finding different shapes and using different shapes along the way here to create some different looks. You don't want this to look stencily. Okay, I think we'll just kind of call it good at that. Let me put a little bit of an ember. A little ember right here. And bring that to a point. Make a little ember. Now, we'll do that smoke again, so kind of circular motion. It's down here in the lower part. Kind of gives that smoky, that real heat, smoky look. Now basically, at this point, we're going to kind of call it good. Clean the airbrush out here really good, because we don't want this yellow and white in there, because these are not candies. We're going to switch and go to pagan gold, our last step. Now make sure this airbrush is clean. Otherwise we'll have the overspray up on here where we don't want it. Clean that good. We'll take our clean rag and stick in there. Clean the inside out. Pagan gold candy. Now over on the page that's marked on this site, it's marked colors and supplies. You'll see all these candies. Now at the time of this video, I don't have all the color numbers on there yet. I've got the names of the colors, but I don't have all the color numbers. They're all PPG, by the way. Everything I use is. But I'll get the color numbers over there, and then you can get the exact color numbers. All you got to do is find a PPG person, get the exact colors that I'm using. Okay, kind of spraying through here a little bit to make sure it's clean. Spraying over my test paper here. It's flowing good. I'm just going to kind of stay up here. I'm not going to do this. I'm kind of staying up here where I want these hot spots. And I'm just going to go over these yellow and white places. As far down as I'm going to go. I'm just going to kind of catch the tips of those, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to go back over it again. You see, every time I do this, they are really getting intense. And this pagan also makes sure the colors are a lot more intense as well. Get you up here a little closer. Okay, that's pretty much it on that panel. You can see what we've done. We've created another burnout. We added to our existing burnout. And now we've created some fire. So now in the next video, we're going to go into some more wood, and I'm going to go into another panel of fire. We're just going to do a panel of fire, and we'll probably do like a border. Might make that border chrome or something like that, but we're going to kind of create it like an inferno of fire and show you some different techniques of doing it. And actually, a couple of ways you wouldn't even have to have an airbrush to do it as well. So I'll see you in the next video. Practice, practice, practice. That's what makes you good. We'll see you now.